Good people don't get special treatment. They're not immune to injustice, betrayal, or pain. In fact, those who live with integrity and kindness are often the first to get crushed when the world turns brutal. Not because they're wrong, but because they foolishly believe that doing the right thing will somehow protect them. Here's the truth. Kindness without strategy is a form of weakness. It makes you a pleasant target for manipulators in a world that runs on power and perception. And if you've never understood why being kind still got you hurt, this video will give you a different perspective. Not to make you stop being good, but to help you start doing good the right way. Up next, the cold, sharp insight of Marcus Aurelius and why he never told you to be nice. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and like if you're new here. It helps me keep bringing you more valuable content. A man who wants to do good in all circumstances will inevitably be destroyed among those who are not good. That's not the whimper of a cynical philosopher. That's a warning from an emperor, a man who ruled the Roman Empire, fighting not just external enemies, but the rot within human nature. Marcus Aurelius didn't write to comfort you. He wrote to wake you up. Too many people today treat kindness like a talisman, believing that if they just stay decent, good things will come. That's a fantasy. Marcus never said kindness was enough. In fact, he stared down reality and said, kindness without awareness turns you into prey. And if you think being good is enough, you've already lost. This is where people get Machiavelli's The Prince completely wrong. They think it's a tyrant's playbook. Marcus saw it differently. It's a survival guide for the good in a world built on manipulation. It doesn't teach you to become a monster. It teaches you not to die early trying to be an innocent angel. You can choose to be good, but you don't get to choose the world around you. And if you're not ready to live among wolves, don't be surprised when you get bitten. The truth is this: you're not hurt because you're good. You're hurt because you're not sharp enough to protect that goodness. Marcus never said to stop being good. He said, you must be strong enough that no one dares take advantage of your goodness. You can keep dreaming of a fair world, or you can prepare to live in the real one. The choice is yours. It's no coincidence that good people are often the ones who get hurt the most. And it's not because they're weak or stupid. They're usually the ones with big hearts, strong ethics, and the ability to care deeply about others. But precisely because of those traits, they become ideal targets for those who know how to manipulate. This world doesn't run on kindness. It runs on awareness, strategy, and self-defense. If you don't understand that, you're not just vulnerable, you're inviting pain in. Good people often hold a naive belief that if they just live rightly and truthfully, good things will eventually come. But they forget one thing: not everyone thinks like them. Not everyone values what they bring. Some people look at you and think, what can I take from this person without giving anything back? And if you have no boundaries, if you don't push back, if you let your kindness become someone else's tool, then you're not being good. You're just being easy prey. Why do they get screwed? Because they trust too fast. They give before knowing if someone's worth it. They avoid conflict, staying silent when disrespected. They fear hurting others, so they avoid speaking the truth. They keep sacrificing, even when they know they're being used. And in a world where the assertive are in control, passive kindness is an open invitation for injustice. Society loves to label the kind-hearted as pure, like it's a compliment. But behind that label is the burden of fixing everyone else's mess. Incompetent coworker, you cover. Friend doesn't pay you back, you stay quiet. Someone steals your credit, you let it slide. This isn't bad luck or irony. It's the result of choosing to be kind instead of being clear, choosing silence over boundaries. Marcus Aurelius put it plainly: a man who wants to do good in all circumstances will inevitably be destroyed among those who are not good. If you walk through life assuming others share your values, you're walking straight into disaster. In a harsh world, kindness is no longer just a virtue. It must be a strategy. It needs conditions, awareness, limits. Without that, your kindness becomes a resource others will drain dry. It's not that you don't deserve respect. The problem is you haven't demanded it. You wait for people to just get it, instead of making it clear. You hope they'll change, instead of walking away from toxic dynamics. And you call that patience. No, that's just you refusing to face reality. Here's the truth. Good people don't suffer because they're righteous. They suffer because they don't protect that righteousness with strength, clarity, and principle. Kindness is powerful, but only if you're strong enough that no one dares to twist it for their gain. Stop telling yourself that you got hurt by accident. In a world where people have become increasingly savvy about human psychology and behavior, very few things are truly random. You weren't taken advantage of by mistake. You were targeted, deliberately, because they saw you wouldn't push back. Manipulators don't pick their targets on a whim. They don't go after people who are strong, assertive, or unafraid to say no. They don't waste time on those with firm boundaries, who know how to refuse, and who aren't afraid to cause discomfort when they're treated unfairly. Instead, they look for the kind-hearted, but soft. The ones who smile and let it slide, who say yes when pressured, who lend money and stay silent when it's not repaid. They watch more closely than you think. And once they see you're someone who takes it, they'll start testing your limits. You see it clearly at work. That coworker who always dumps tasks on you last minute, it's not because they forgot. It's because they know you'll say yes. That friend who doesn't pay you back, it's not that they can't. It's that they know you won't ask. Someone else takes credit for your work in front of the boss. It's not ignorance. They know what you did. But you don't speak up. Don't tell yourself these are small things. Don't call it not holding a grudge. You're letting people use your kindness as a tool to escape accountability. Exploitation doesn't always come with malice. It comes with calculation. These people aren't always enemies. Sometimes they're family, friends, colleagues. They might not even dislike you. They've just realized you're easy to use, and once your passivity becomes the safest option, they'll keep using it, more often, more boldly, until there's nothing left in you but resentment and defeat. This world doesn't reward people who lack principles. It rewards those who know when to be kind and when to draw the line. Those who know when to stop, who are willing to confront, who aren't afraid of making others uncomfortable if it means protecting themselves. You think being agreeable keeps you out of conflict? It doesn't. The price of not standing up is the slow erosion of your self-worth. Every time you stay silent, you train others to think you're a pushover. Every time you cave, you're paving the way for the next hit. Marcus Aurelius didn't write to soothe your bruised feelings. He wrote to wake you the hell up. If you won't look honestly at how others are treating you, then you're complicit in it. There's nothing noble about letting people walk all over you. That's not virtue. It's helplessness dressed up in moral excuses. You have a choice. Keep being the nice one in everyone's eyes and be miserable in your own life. Or become the kind of good person with strategy. The one people think twice before messing with. The one who makes it clear your kindness is not a free resource. If this video made you think, hit like now. Comment below. How have you applied Stoicism in your life? Stoic success, unbreakable mindset, total control. The world doesn't see you for who you are. It sees you based on how you present yourself. That's a hard truth to swallow. But if you don't accept it, you'll keep living in frustration, overlooked, and underestimated, no matter how talented you are. You could be the hardest worker, the most skilled, the kindest person in the room. But if you walk into a meeting with downcast eyes, a hesitant voice, and closed-off body language, people won't see you. Not because they're malicious, because human instinct responds to confidence, not hidden ability. Here's the truth. We trust perception before we verify facts. If you act unsure, people will assume you're not capable. If you don't say, "I did that," credit will go to someone else. Not because you don't deserve it, but because you didn't show up like you do. Kind people often fall into the deadliest trap, believing if I quietly do my job well, results will speak for themselves. But the world doesn't run on inherent fairness. It runs on perception. And perception is shaped by how you carry yourself, how you show up, how you tell your own story. Look at who gets promoted. They may not be the most skilled, but they know how to speak, how to be seen, how to show up at the right time in the right way. That's not fake. It's survival in a world where if you don't control your image, someone else will. And trust me, it won't be in your favor. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He never whined, "Why can't they see my value?" He never blamed the world for not recognizing him. Instead, he taught, if you live by nature's logic, you must accept that people react to presentation, not pure intent. So if you won't raise your head, won't speak up, won't claim what's rightfully yours, don't expect anyone to hand it to you. The world's busy. No one has time to dig for your hidden potential. They respond to what they see, not what you quietly hope they notice. You can keep waiting for the day they finally see you, or you can step into the light and take control of your narrative. Not to brag, but to own your story. To make sure your kindness isn't mistaken for weakness. To make sure your talent doesn't get buried in polite silence. Because if you don't do it, someone else will. And believe me, they'll do it for their benefit, not yours. Your first reaction may be the most honest, but it's also usually the dumbest. Outbursts of anger, hurt, or raw emotion don't make you authentic. They just show you've lost control and surrendered your power. In a world where power is measured by control, the person who can't manage their emotions is the one who ties their own hands. You might be right, you might be genuinely hurt. But if you react like a wounded child, the only thing people will remember isn't their mistake. It's your weakness. Marcus Aurelius said it best, learn to stand still in the storm. Not because he suppressed his emotions, but because he knew explosions don't make you stronger. They make you easier to control. Calmness is a dangerous kind of power. It makes people hesitate. It lets you strike back with precision, not with tears or shouting, but with strategy. Abraham Lincoln had a habit. He'd write hot letters when he was furious, and then never send them. He needed to vent, but refused to act while angry. That's the discipline of a man who understood. Emotions should be managed, not followed. You can feel everything, but react like someone who's in control of it all. One of the biggest mistakes good people make is always being available. Always responding immediately. Always showing up when someone needs them. Always saying sure, even when they're falling apart inside. And then they're surprised when they feel taken for granted, like they're invisible. But let's be honest, you allowed that to happen. Being too accessible doesn't make people value you more. It makes them value you less. In other people's eyes, your worth isn't just measured by what you give, but by how you manage your presence. Anything that's always available gets treated as cheap. People only respect what isn't handed to them too easily. Help someone once and they're grateful. Help them twice and they're appreciative. By the 10th time, they stop seeing it as kindness. It becomes your duty. Gratitude fades, expectation replaces it. That's when you're trapped in the role of the reliable one, stripped of choice, space, and air. Marcus Aurelius didn't write about modern communication strategies, but he understood this timeless truth. Your value is tied to how you protect your time, energy, and presence. Keeping distance isn't coldness. It's how you guard your kindness from erosion by overexposure and exploitation. So, learn not to respond instantly. Unless it's urgent, there's nothing wrong with leaving a message unread, an email unanswered, an invitation pending. That's not rude. It's called having control. People who jump at every ping don't control their time. And if you don't control your time, you don't control your life. Limit your support hours. Don't turn yourself into 24/7 tech support for people who don't appreciate you. When you help, give it your all. But that doesn't mean you always have to be available. Intensity matters more than frequency. And finally, don't share everything about yourself with everyone. Transparency doesn't mean giving people a free pass into your private life. Distance breeds respect. Just like you wouldn't let strangers into your bedroom, you shouldn't let casual acquaintances walk all over your personal boundaries. Wise people don't slam the door shut, but they know exactly when to leave it just slightly ajar. No one is born ready to navigate a world full of manipulation. But if you don't learn to defend yourself, your kindness becomes a self-destructive trap. You can keep believing that good deeds will eventually be rewarded, but that's a game of luck. If you want your kindness to actually make an impact, you need a strategy. Clear, tactical, with boundaries. Start by making your principles explicit from the start. Don't leave people guessing what you're willing to do. Say it out loud. For example, when someone asks for help, instead of immediately saying yes, respond with, "I'm available to support for 2 hours tomorrow afternoon." That's not rude. That's a boundary. And when boundaries are set early, people are more likely to respect them. Next, adapt your generosity based on who's earned it. Not everyone deserves the same level of kindness. Be generous with those who appreciate you, but with people who only take and never give, establish rules of reciprocity. You're not selfish for expecting balance. You're protecting your energy from being drained for nothing. One of the most common mistakes is doing good work that no one sees. You need to position your kindness strategically. Choose actions that are visible, aligned with collective goals, or have ripple effects. Being kind doesn't mean staying invisible. Recognition isn't vanity. It's fuel for creating more value. Also, share selectively. Your personal stories, struggles, or beliefs aren't for everyone. Watch how someone listens, whether they protect your trust, whether they honor your boundaries. If the answer is no, then silence isn't guardedness, it's intelligence. And if you sense someone starting to exploit you, don't waste time trying to understand them. Recognize the pattern. Do they only reach out when they need something? Do they respect your time? Do they ever offer help in return? Do they twist gratitude into leverage for the next favor? If the answer feels like you're being used, you don't need more signs. You need to act. Finally, train yourself to tolerate the discomfort of saying no. It's not easy. But if you never get used to turning people down, you'll live your life suffocated by obligation. Start small. Decline unnecessary invitations. Ask for fair compensation. Correct someone when they cross a line. Every time you do, you take back control of your life. Kindness doesn't protect itself. Without a strategy, your goodness will bleed you dry. The goal isn't to become cold and hardened, but to be the kind of person whose compassion is backed by wisdom. The kind of kindness that survives and actually makes a difference. If you think kindness and strategy are opposites, you're tying your own hands. It's the naive definition of kindness that gets good people knocked out of the game, not because they're wrong, but because they don't know how to play it right. In a cutthroat world, only intelligent kindness survives. Smart kindness isn't manipulation in disguise. It's the fusion of a good heart with sharp thinking. You still give, but you know exactly who you're giving to, what you're giving, and how far you'll go. You still trust, but only after you've observed, not just after hearing a touching story. You're still compassionate, but you don't let anyone use that compassion as an excuse to stay stagnant. Marcus Aurelius faced schemers in the palace, uprisings in the empire, and betrayal from those closest to him. Yet he didn't turn cold or bitter. He chose a different path, to live righteously, but not stupidly, to act with decency, but not blindness, to forgive, but never forget his duty to uphold the stability of an empire. That's the strength of someone who understands. Kindness only has value when it's placed in the right hands, in the right context, serving a purpose greater than temporary emotion. That's also the only way kindness won't get shredded by the harsh gears of real life. You don't have to become cold to earn respect, but you do need to be someone others think twice about crossing. You can be kind, but you must also be ready to withdraw that kindness when it's abused. You can be gentle, but never forget your right to walk away, to go silent, to take back the trust you once gave. The path of intelligent kindness is not an easy one. It forces you to confront yourself, your fear of being disliked, your guilt when you say no, the haunting thought that someone might be disappointed if you don't step in. But if you don't learn to move past that, your kindness becomes the chain that keeps you stuck for life. And that's not kindness, that's self-inflicted martyrdom. If kindness is going to make a real impact, it must stand tall in the storm. It can't stay soft forever. And you, if you want to preserve your decency, must learn how to be sharp, strong, and steady. Not to manipulate, but to avoid being sidelined, to give your kindness a solid place in a chaotic world. Marcus Aurelius never told you to abandon kindness. He simply wanted you to understand this. Kindness, if not protected by reason and discipline, will be crushed without mercy. The world isn't cruel because it hates good people. It's cruel because it runs on instinct. The strong survive, the weak get discarded. And the ultimate weakness? Believing that kindness alone is enough. You can't change the world, but you can change the way you move through it. Be the principled good one, the kind person who knows when to walk away, the compassionate soul with boundaries, the gentle presence that still makes others tread carefully. You can keep hoping the world will recognize your worth, or you can choose a different path. The path of strategic kindness, where your goodness isn't dismissed, but transformed into real power. Which side do you choose? Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can spread positivity together.